erupted at Israel's main international airport on Sunday as a missile strike landed nearby. Travelers were instructed to take cover in secured spaces in Ben Gurion Airport, with air raid sirens sounding in the background. Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis claimed responsibility for the strike. It blasted open a crater in the ground near a Terminal 3 parking lot, authorities said, but did no significant damage. In a statement after the attack, a Houthi military spokesperson warned airlines against using the Israeli airport, saying it was, quote, no longer safe. The head of Ben Gurion Airport said operations were up and running again after less than 30 minutes of disruption, though European and US carriers have scrapped flights for the next several days, leaving some passengers stranded.
I'm supposed to go back to Paris today, and Air France canceled their flight. And I'm afraid it's going to be very difficult today to go back to France because all European carriers, from what I see on the information, have cancelled.
Responding to the attack, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said, quote, whoever harms us will be harmed sevenfold. Israel resumed its war in Gaza in March following a 2-month truce. That's drawn a pledge from the Houthis to hit Israel with more missiles, saying it's an act of solidarity with Palestinians under siege.
This is not about a person, but a principle. This is about the will of the people.
Eurosceptic George Simeon was victorious in the first round of Romania's presidential election rerun on Sunday, but did not garner a majority of votes, forcing a runoff on May 18th. He will face off against centrist candidate and Bucharest mayor Nicușor Dan, who appears to have finished in second, according to near-final results. The ballot was seen as a test of the rise of Donald Trump-style nationalism in the European Union. The 38-year-old Simeon rode a wave of anger with mainstream leaders. He opposes military aid to neighboring Ukraine, is critical of the EU leadership, and says he supports the U.S. president's Make America Great Again movement. Political observers say a Simeon win could isolate Romania, erode private investment, and destabilize NATO's eastern flank while the Ukraine war rages. Last Friday, he told Reuters that Russia was not a threat to NATO, and the only risk to Europe's eastern flank was NATO being dismantled.
We are not threatened by Russia. Russia doesn't have the potential to represent a significant and important threat towards the biggest military alliance in the world.
Sunday's vote comes 5 months after a first attempt to hold the election was canceled over alleged Russian interference in favor of Călin Georgescu. He was a far-right frontrunner but was banned from standing again. On Sunday, he voted alongside Simeon, with Georgescu calling the rerun a fraud. Simeon is not the only MAGA-style politician seeking election in Central Europe. Polish presidential candidate Karol Nawrocki is backed by the main nationalist opposition party there in an election also on May 18th and met with Trump this week.
We are grateful once again for your strong mandate.
Singapore's People's Action Party cruised to victory Saturday, winning its 14th successive election and extending its 6-decade rule. The PAP won 87 of the 97 parliamentary seats up for grabs, delivering a strong mandate for Prime Minister Lawrence Wong.
We will honor the trust that you have given to us by working even harder for all of you.
The PAP saw victories by huge margins in many of the 33 constituencies, while the opposition failed to extend gains in previous contests. Voters went to the polls amid some signs of disenchantment with the PAP's tight grip on power in the Asian financial hub, whose 6 million people have known no other kind of government. Although a PAP defeat was always extremely unlikely, some analysts had said the election could have altered the future political dynamic if the opposition had made more gains. Instead, the outcome will be seen as a ringing public endorsement of US-educated Wong. The 52-year-old became Singapore's 4th prime minister last year, promising continuity as well as new blood and a new style of leadership. He must now address high living costs and a shortage of housing amid a recession risk and job losses if its trade-dependent economy takes a hit from steep US tariffs.
In one of the calls, US President Donald Trump said it was important for the US Army to enter Mexico to help us in the fight against drug trafficking. And I want to say that's true. In some of the calls, he said, "How can we help you fight drug trafficking? I propose that the US Army come in to help you." And you know what I told him? No, President Trump. The territory is sacrosanct. Sovereignty is sacrosanct. Sovereignty is not for sale. Sovereignty is loved and defended. We can collaborate, we can work together, but you can do it in your territory, we can do it in ours. We can share information, but we will never accept the presence of the US Army in our territory.
U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a new 100% tariff on all movies made outside the U.S. on Sunday, claiming Hollywood is dying a very fast death. In a Truth Social post, he said other countries luring productions away with tax breaks were to blame, saying, quote, "This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat." Trump said the order was set to take effect immediately and that he'd begun authorizing agencies like the Commerce Department to begin enforcing it. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick responded with a simple "we're on it" on X. Neither gave further details as to how the tariff would work, whether it includes streaming platforms, theater releases, or both, or how the value of a film would be decided in order to calculate a tariff. Hollywood executives were scrambling Sunday night to make sense of it. The Motion Picture Association, which represents major studios, had no immediate comment. Trump has made reviving the U.S. film industry part of his political agenda. In January, he appointed actors Jon Voight, Sylvester Stallone, and Mel Gibson to help bring Hollywood back, quote, "bigger, better, and stronger." According to research firm ProdPro, in 2023, about half of spending by U.S. producers on TV and movie projects with budgets over $40 million went outside the U.S. All major studios, from Disney to Netflix, have filmed abroad in places like Canada and the UK to cash in on tax breaks.
Warren Buffett on Saturday said he will step down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway at the end of the year. During the company's annual shareholder meeting in Omaha, 94-year-old Buffett said it was time for Vice Chairman Greg Abel to take over the reins. Buffett said Abel hadn't been aware of his plans prior to the announcement, though he had told his children about his decision. It caps a remarkable 60-year run where Buffett transformed Berkshire from a failing textile company into a trillion-dollar conglomerate. The company boasts nearly 200 businesses, from Geico Car Insurance to the BNSF Railroad and Dairy Queen ice cream. Buffett said he had zero intention of selling any of his Berkshire stock, nearly all of which will be donated after his death. Berkshire's ever-growing cash hoard reached over $347 billion at the end of March. The meeting comes amid a roller coaster start to the year from markets, which have reacted to uncertainty over trade policies as the Trump administration imposes tariffs. Buffett started the day by telling shareholders that trade should not be a weapon, and the United States would be better off if other countries shared its prosperity. 62-year-old Abel has been a Berkshire vice chairman since 2018.